Steven Spielberg's new summer blockbuster is out, and it's drawing all kinds of controversy. The run-up to the movie's release has featured claims that it's anti-Christian, that it's designed to make people of faith question their beliefs as they leave the theaters. Well, I ain't afraid of no theological quandaries out of Hollyweird, and I've seen the film now. It's time for an honest review. Should you go see Disclosure Day? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we as ever endeavor to keep you ahead of the culture curve. And today it's an honest review, spoiler-free, of Spielberg's new movie, Disclosure Day. Should you go see it? Should you be afraid? I've seen people out there saying that it'll give you demons. It'll give you the demons. Well, folks, I've went and seen it for you, and I've got a review right now. Let's dive in. You click the like button. Here we go. You know, we've enjoyed some tremendously great movies this year in 2026. Hollywood should now know what audiences want to see. And in the sci-fi category, I can tell you, we've already had two paths put forward with no more question about what consumers are interested in seeing. On the one hand, we've watched Project Hail Mary, a story about a man saving Earth by being forced into bravery, meeting a plucky little alien named Rocky, and sciencing their way to winning big time for both their home planets. It's a tale of self-sacrifice, ingenuity, and the goodness that comes from the human spirit when it's aligned with doing the right thing. And then, there was also Star Wars. It had little to say, almost no story, and folks who did go see it might have been caught snoring, at least during half of the experience. The Force was with Project Hail Mary, not with Mando. So, what about our third big sci-fi flick of the year? And is Spielberg's latest a hate fest against Christians and other religious believers? Well, let's put it this way. I don't know if the film is heralding in the Antichrist, but it's definitely the anti-Project Hail Mary, and it sure is very unnice to Christians. Before I get into this, can I just cut to the chase in case you want to cut out of here early? I'm happy to do that for you. And then if you want to stay for the rant, you're welcome to. See, it's kind of hard for me to just rip anything that clearly someone has put time and effort into making good. Spielberg and his crew clearly cared about this movie to the nth degree. It's obvious in every single shot, in every well-positioned lens flare, in every emotion that is displayed at a near pathological level in scene after scene after scene. Seriously, stop crying, people. And just like when a kid wants me to look at a crudely made macaroni art bird on the refrigerator, I don't like to just immediately start vomiting uncontrollably all over the floor. It's unseemly. Frankly, it's against the nature of basic manners. But you can probably tell where this is going, right? Folks, I'm about to shred this excrement of a movie, and it deserves it. Okay, all of that understood. Disclosure Day is a very, very bad movie. It is a painfully, woefully, awfully bad movie. And that's not surprising, actually, to me, from Spielberg. You see, after all, Spielberg is famous for great and absolutely terrible films. He's made Jurassic Park, he's made Jaws, E.T., Saving Private Ryan, and I can keep going on and on. In fact, he's responsible for my favorite film of all time, Bridge of Spies. And so I would be inclined to root for Spielberg, right? But if you can believe it, he's also made some of the worst movies I've ever seen. And just like he's made my favorite film, he also made my least favorite film ever. That's pretty darn incredible that he has that kind of a spectrum. Yes, Spielberg made a movie that I hate more than Garbage Pail Kids and Rainbow Bright, Star Stealer put together combined. 2001's Artificial Intelligence is a dystopian, soul-sucking, desolate slog that I have seen one time in my lifetime, and I will never, if I can avoid it, watch it again. And in the pantheon of Spielberg movies, what I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is that Disclosure Day is much closer to Artificial Intelligence than anything good Spielberg has ever made. Now, that's a real shame. Because if you think about it, Steven, he's up there in years, and he actually managed to convince the greatest movie composer of all time, John Williams, to spend his precious time in his 90s to score this abomination of a film. I can only imagine that making something this awful when your time is more precious than ever before has to be especially painful. And so it brings me no great pleasure to rip the Band-Aid off right now and tell you that this whole movie is dreadful in almost every possible way. I say almost because it is expertly choreographed and the staging is phenomenal. The score is also brilliant. And beyond that, I will have nothing more good to say. For you see, ladies and gentlemen of the jury who have joined us, and you're still here, and congratulations, you've waited for the rant. We'll rant away, shall we? Here we go. Disclosure Day is the most overwrought, overthought, overstuffed, hubris-filled nonsense I have seen in a very long time. It can all fairly well be summed up with this example, if you'll indulge me. If you've ever spent any time in Sunday school or Mass or a church service or listening to a rabbi at a synagogue, you likely know what the book of Genesis says about people. In fact, if you've just read it casually, you probably know what it says about people. It's Jewish and Christian Doctrine 101. People are made in the image of God. And you can speculate what that means, but it likely means we have the capacity to create, build, love, and do a whole host of things that sort of separate us from animals and definitely at least from plants, right? But in Disclosure Day, a huge part of the film's conflict is based on the idea that what Genesis really says, what it really teaches, is that humans are supreme beings, and that if people found out aliens exist, why, well, that would shake their faith in the good book, and chaos would break out everywhere. Mind you, folks, of course, this film never talks about Islam or Muslims or any other religion because, hey, it's just about the Christians in this one, eh? Although, if you misunderstand Genesis this way, you got to say it's also offensive to those who believe in Judaism, right? Okay, so why would chaos break out everywhere? Well, you see, because aliens are also apparently supreme beings. The aliens, they're supreme beings. They're essentially gods. This is alien versus God. This movie is all about if you believe in aliens, you can't believe in God until the end. And they say, well, no, that's not actually totally true. It feels like they had to put that back in because somebody said, we can't say this. Also, it's crazy to say this. Okay. Yes, it eventually gets cleaned up a little bit, okay, by a nun who, well, she has no idea, too, what Genesis says. But just that's the depth of this film, right? It's like a quickly evaporating puddle in the wilderness. It might be wide, but it's not deep. I promise you that. In this movie, organized religion and government equals bad. Journalists and everybody else are good. That's how complicated it is. Furthermore, our good friends, the aliens, who took every bit, or who look every bit like the 1950s aliens that you remember from some of those films from way back, giant eyes, little gray skin. They look like South Park aliens in this film. They're totally unbelievable. There's no way that anatomy could exist, but they managed to travel all the way across the interstellar cosmos. But we humans, we pitiful little humans without any kind of similar tech, we caught them. We tortured them, and we're the bad guys. Because of course we are. The little aliens, they're just pacifists in spaceships who happen to get caught by an inferior species. But remember, their tech should make them so much more advanced than us that we should be like grasshoppers or earthworms to them. And yet we're the bad guys in the movie because we caught the aliens and we were mean to them. Never mind, of course, that what we've witnessed on Earth in the last 5 to 10 years has proven that people can be very mean with little consequence, and some of the people who made this film would hold those same people in no consequence. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Fauci. All right. Oh, I can't go there. We can't say that, can we? Yeah, we can. Okay, here's the deal. But since we've been mean to the aliens in the movie, or at least our government has been mean to the aliens, the truth must get out there. And that's the premise of the film. And because of this, the film decides it needs to be more complicated than a billion-piece jigsaw puzzle depicting abstract art. And our adventure involves two special people who face off against secret cabals, past childhood traumas, parent issues because a dad had Parkinson's when they were 10, fairy tale houses, and you better believe definitively CGI animals who exist in an otherwise realistic appearing world, but they look like they were sucked straight out of Shrek 1. Let me tell you, when these little CGI critters appear, I'm not kidding. I laughed out loud in the theater because they looked that bad. And it's one of those points where you're supposed to be really touched by it. But don't get mad at me, okay? Because the other two people who were in the theater, all three of us in the theater, we laughed at the same time about it. That's how bad this film is. Okay. Ultimately, the film's worst sin is believing that if only journalists had access to classified material, they would definitely, totally show it on live TV without hesitation or clearance from the government. And all the people everywhere would turn on the TVs and turn on their phones, and they would believe every single bit of it. Of course, that flies in the face of everything we've seen out of the corrupt legacy media for the last 5 years, or maybe, last many decades. But this sort of juvenile silliness that Spielberg puts out there, as if it's serious, contemplation-worthy, award-hunting storyteller, is in reality just a bunch of nonsense. And that's the problem. It wants to have gravitas, but it's just silly. In reality, we all know that half of the country would claim President Trump had conspired and was trying to trick people, misleading them from the economy or something. Actually, on second thought, no, half the country would probably be too busy swiping through cat videos and Rick and Morty short theories instead of seeing what's happening in the world. After all, we passed the Turing test and nobody cared. It's probably the same thing with an announcement about aliens. But there you go. That's Disclosure Day. A film that believes it is deeper than the Mariana Trench, but actually feels like it was written by an emotionally disturbed fifth grader tripping on long-expired Chef Boyardee. I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is a really, really bad movie. It's a 2.5 out of 10 for me. One of the lowest I've ever given in the history of the channel. But, it's still better than Animal Farm, so it has that going for it. It's the anti-Project Hail Mary, folks. It's offensive to Christians and Jews, at least. It's cowardly in that it won't take on any other religions. It's just about that. And by the way, it's all such a farce. And in the end, folks, if you're not laughing at it, I don't know what to tell you, but it's not based in any reality that I can believe in. I'm sorry, but that's the movie. Folks, we need you now to click the like button, share this out, subscribe if you're not yet, and let us know, did you see the film? I'm so sorry if you did. Did you see the film? Did you make it to the end? Let us know your thoughts. Does it match up with what I have to say? Folks, until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, even when you're stuck in a movie like this, woo! Keep having fun.